Bruce Arians retired, right? He's going to the front office. But actually, I think it's kind of. You remember when Tom Brady was announced to have retired by Adam Schefter, and then he was like, "That's not true," and then Adam Schefter was like, "It's true," and it felt like really. It felt awkward, like I wasn't a fan of how the situation was handled.
Yeah.
And then he apparently he wasn't retired. So I think that this Bruce is doing the same. Like Tom and Bruce are just gonna start to try to undermine Adam Schefter's credibility by like him announcing their retirements that's actually not true. And then people are gonna be like, well, this guy, he's just making shit up, at this point.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, Schefter's been going fucking hard lately. On some, like, he's getting some kickback lately.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see.
He's definitely not hitting the brakes on his brand.
The power's gone to his head, man. The celebrity status.
Heck yeah.
That blue checkmark syndrome.
Yeah, buddy.
He was also just like unquestioned for so long, and now motherfuckers are calling him out. And I don't know if he's quite ready to deal with it. Like
it's McAfee's fault, dude. Coming out with like point sources.
Oh, for the brand.
Nice. Well, there's some news. I saw that Patrick Peterson agreed to terms with the Vikings.
I can repurpose my Adrian Peterson jersey again. Let's go.
MVS is with the Chiefs now.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I actually like that a lot.
Also, who did we just get from you guys? Shandon, the cornerback.
Oh, Shandon Sullivan?
Yeah. What do you know about him?
He's good, man.
Is he?
He's good. I like him. He's a really good, like, little nickel. I mean, he's going to be frustrating. He's not a starting corner, so he's going to make plays that you kind of go, what the fuck, dude? But then he'll make some, like, random plays on some pretty good players. And you're like, okay.
Dude.
Like, he's great as long as he's not your starting guy. If he's, like, your nickel or just
too bad, because he's officially starting.
So that may be a bit over what he's gonna be able to do for you, but he's a nice piece for sure.
Yep, him and Sauce Gardner should look good together on the field.
Are you guys trading up in the draft?
Shut up, dude.
That's what I thought.
I've heard Sauce Gardner so often. I was playing Madden the other day and I downloaded like the 2022 draft class that somebody made, and I didn't know that his first name was Ahmad. And he was sitting in the like second round, and I was like, "Is that Sauce Gardner?" And so I just took him. It's like, fuck it. And then I looked it up, and it was just funny.
Dude, that Cincy secondary, Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's top tier names for sure. Maybe the top two best names in cornerback history.
Sauce Gardner.
I'd have to
is that two last names?
Do some research, but
could be.
Is Sauce a name?
I don't think we're counting nicknames.
Okay, I gotcha.
I just figured he only grew tomatoes, peppers, and some onions and ginger.
Some basil and some basils.
I make my own sauces out of my garden. Straight up. I'm a sauce gardener.
Oh my god, nice.
They call AJ Dillon the sauce, and it's because he used to he ate applesauce a lot. That was it. That's the whole thing, is that he really likes applesauce. So they call him the sauce.
I wish I'd ate enough applesauce to have that name. But I'd have him. I'd want people just to call me Mott's, Like
there you go.
There you go.
What's up, Mott's? Always eating applesauce. I'm a Big Ten guy. I didn't know it. I'm a huge Big Ten guy. Apparently, there's a ton of Big Ten guys going down on this bracket tonight, man.
Ooh.
Well, let's get into it.
A lot of Big Ten guys. Yeah, so if anyone's been following us for the rest of our lives, we're doing the bracket.
Year 2, baby.
Are doing this year 2 bracket, and it's going pretty well. I think a lot of us are having fun. So we are at the round of 32. We're at the round of 32. A lot of sleep deprivation going on in my life these days, so bear with me. So yeah, we did 2 episodes for the round of 64, split it into 32 matchups and 32 matchups, and ironically, we ended up with 32 matchups. But we got all of them on the screen right now. We're going through every matchup remaining in the bracket. There are no split episodes from here on out, unless this one gets split in editing, and that's not my fault. I didn't know. So yeah, there's a ton of number ones. We're going to be talking about 4 number ones and so on and so forth. We're gonna whittle it down to the Sweet 16.
Ooh, baby!
Shout out to my Jayhawks who are in the Final Four.
Rock Jock.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Beat 'em Hawks, baby.
St. Peter's make it?
No, they got crushed.
No.
Sad day.
Yeah. Hey, I have my only remaining bet slip from the Vegas bachelor party was KU winning the tournament. So
Holy shit! I forgot about that.
it's still alive. It was like I think it's 12-1 back in
There you go.
September.
I just threw all mine away. I was like, fucking worthless.
Yeah.
The closest one I got, I'd say, was the Jefferson leading
Yeah.
receivers. But
Man.
fucking Cooper Kupp, fucking dick.
Yeah, I mean, you can't predict shit like that, though.
But
Yeah.
if you could have a 3-way parlay on that, we'd all have gold microphones.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know. I know.
I
it
still
conducts
stand by
electricity without
the Ryan Fitzpatrick passing yards leader. It could have happened.
That was that was so fun. I had the Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I had the Commanders as Super Bowl champs, Fitzpatrick as the passing leader, and Terry McLaurin as the receiving leader.
Must love Terry.
So
Damn, that would have been crazy.
But the thing is, if KU wins the tournament, then I've made all of my prop bet or all my season long bet money back, plus $20. I just have to go to Caesar's Palace again, heartbreaker. Or I'll mail it to you and you can collect when you go to the draft.
Yeah, it's looking. I don't think that's going to happen now. It doesn't seem like Danny is going to be able to make it. So unfortunately, I'm going to save the draft stuff for when it's in Kansas City.
Yeah, buddy.
And I'll come see you guys.
By that time, we'll have press passes. We'll be like, you know who the fuck we are?
Must love Terry Diggs and another guy we haven't figured out for next year yet.
Jameson Williams.
Chats.
Maybe he's in this tournament.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, then I'll stop messing around. Let me get pumped. Okay. So we're going to start in the top left of our screen. You better be watching on YouTube because this is an audio-visual episode.
Damn right.
We're in the orange bracket. We got it down to 8 players, and let's see who gets the 4 that advance. Our first matchup is Treylon Burks. I think everyone knows about him, but if you don't, he's a wide receiver out of Arkansas. He's the number 1 seed in this bracket, and he's up against Pierre Strong, the running back out of South Dakota State University, the 9th seed. And, we're just going to go ahead and get straight into it.
Yeah. So I don't know how you feel about it, but I actually thought this one was a bit closer than possibly you would have thought a couple weeks ago. Because to be honest, Burks kind of low-key underperformed from what he was expected to do at the combine, he's billed with this guy with incredible speed and size, and he ended up running a 4.5 something?
4.55.
Yeah, so that's not terrible. It's still pretty fast for his speed. But just for instance, Player Profiler compares him now to Jordy Nelson, which, obviously I fucking love Jordy Nelson, but that's not, the guy that you would have thought, the way he was being talked about was this 230-pound monster that could run a 4.4 flat, So it did kind of reel him back in, but obviously he's still not going to lose to Strong. He's just too talented. But Strong's one of my guys, so I did kind of want to take this because he's got great size. He's not perfect. If he could put on like 5-ish more pounds, that would be awesome. But the fucking speed at that size is deadly. A 4.37, like that's just pretty impressive. And then I love seeing guys when they get an increase in workload and you see an equal increase in production. And if you look at Strong in 2020, he had 131 carries for 707 yards. That's 5.3 yards per carry. He got a bump in carries from 131 to 240, and he ended up with 1,686 yards, which is 7 yards per carry. So like it's awesome to see a guy get chances and then kind of bump up that production, and that's like a huge spike. So I love seeing that. He's getting comparisons to Elijah Mitchell, so that might be partly why I like him so much. I don't really know if I see that necessarily. I think he's a little bit quicker than Elijah Mitchell, but he has less power. So I'm not necessarily convinced. But I don't know, man. I like him a lot. His yards per attempt after contact was 3.39, which wasn't terrible. Puts him in the middle of the pack. But if there's some way he could find a way to kind of like package more power in his game and kind of run people over, if he adds that to the home run hitting speed, like he's dangerous. I think regardless, he's a nice pickup in the second round. But obviously Burks wins.
Yeah. You touch. I just said who struggled with this one more than they thought they would? Question mark. It sounds like
so you did too.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. But yeah, I didn't. I obviously had Burks winning this one. So yeah, fuck yeah, Pierre Strong. We'll see you in the consolation bracket.
Hey, 75 percentile.
That's right.
The burst score.
That's also in my notes, man.
Right at that limit that I like.
Love
for
it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Hey, year 2, baby. We know what we're doing.
I love it, man. I'm super pumped. Let's keep the ball rolling. Still in the orange, sticking to the orange. We got number 5, Skyy Moore, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, up against number 4, Desmond Ridder. That is your quarterback from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So I had Desmond Ridder winning this one. And I didn't know what you wanted to say about that. It's kind of really close. It was a lot of the combine kind of like blew up, and it's just kind of it's one of those, he's one of the guys that is going to get some attention, but then like the momentum pushes past the combine and into the draft, and there's a lot of that's the kind of guys you get excited about these days. What you do on the field is obviously the starter, but there's so much off the field workouts and pro days and just like buzz and attention that really draws teams to these guys. And I think he's kind of the guy that's catching the momentum right now. But I can go either way with you.
I'm 100% with you on the momentum catching. I did take Skyy Moore here, actually. This was tough for me. I like both these guys a lot. I have Skyy Moore still sitting at like 6 in my wide receiver rankings. He might need to come down, but I still like him a lot. My thing with Ridder, I love him, and I'm with you. I think that he's probably had more stock raised in the draft than anyone. Maybe Malik Willis, who we'll talk about later. But, man, it's like his ability to quick read an offense and kind of just like that quick game offense is really going to get a quarterback or an offensive coordinator excited about Desmond Ridder. And if you look at his stats, like, I feel like the combine proved that he was underutilized in the rushing game. Only 355 rushing yards last year from a guy that ran a 4.52 as a quarterback. For reference, Lamar Jackson's a 4.4. Right. So we're talking about 0.1 seconds slower than Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes ran a 4.8. So I think he's underutilized. If a team could kind of use him and kind of work his rushing ability into the offense, he could be dangerous. My thing with him, though, is he's still a project. His accuracy issues are still there. I think he has kind of a strange throwing motion. Sometimes it's like a bit kind of like high and then kind of almost like an axe chop. But if he can fix that stuff and like you're talking about the off the field kind of stuff, the coaches, all his coaches have constantly praised his work ethic and like how he works out. So if he adapts that into the NFL and kind of fixes these areas, I do think he's dangerous. And in that way, I'm with you putting him over Moore. I just think Moore is probably the safer choice for a boom or bust guy. I think both these guys have pretty good boom or bust potential, and I would put Moore as the safer choice. Even though Ritter, I am head over heels for Ritter. I'm looking to get him pretty hard at the end, like in the third round of our draft or whatever.
Okay, well that makes it easy for me because you just did the whole Ritter recap anyway. So.
I'm sorry, I keep stealing everything from.
No, man,
so
you're good.
Are we putting Skyy Moore then?
Yeah.
Skyy?
Yeah, that's an upset. That's an upset right there.
Upset alert.
Besides, yeah, we need to fit some upsets in there.
I mean, you know what? The way it's going, I don't want to, do too much of a preview, but Skyy Moore just might crack this whole bracket upset, man. So let's just move on before anyone can read too far into what I'm saying right now.
Jesus.
Woo, woo. Next up, we got the running back out of Georgia. No, not that one. This one's James Cook. Yes, number 6 rank. And he's up against the tight end out of Colorado State, Trey McBride. Mr. All Yards, No TDs, McBride himself. And I don't know. I feel like when we started this bracket, I was like, these are some serious matchups. But I took Trey McBride on this one. And
me too.
Okay, cool. So obviously James Cook is awesome. His brother is Dalvin. And
Dalvin.
So what are you going to say about him? He actually had some really efficient workload this year, even though he was a little underutilized. He shared the backfield with Zamir White, who we'll talk about later. But in this class, he was 3rd in yards per carry and 4th in yards per route run. So that's really, really efficient. And I think it's a little bit of a concern that he didn't have the consistent work throughout his college career. It's not like Georgia just lost, their lead guy last year and this opportunity just appeared. These guys were playing together for some time now. So that is a little bit of concern, but they had a 1-2 punch thing going and it actually worked really well, obviously, in Georgia. So I still think that he has more to give, and I think he's done a lot to raise his stock. He ran a 4.4 240. He is just under 200 pounds, which is kind of a sad thing, and the burst score is under 50th percentile, which, can really deter a guy like my main man Christian. But
yeah.
He was still really fun to watch play, and I'm really excited about him. I hope he is kind of a scat back. I hate the term scat back because I feel like, you can be bigger than a scat, while you're back there. But whatever. You got more to say about him?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to echo your thoughts, especially in this matchup. It really is kind of like inconsistency versus consistency. I'm with you. Cook was super efficient, and he's electrifying, obviously. But last year he had 7 games where he was 50 yards or less, and he averaged under 10 touches the past year per game. That's including rushing and receiving. And, obviously, like you said, they had a double-headed running attack there. So that plays into it a bit. But when you're averaging 9.3 touches a game, and then you're compared to a guy in McBride that was averaging 7.5 catches per game and 93 yards as a tight end, that's the guy I'm going to go for because I think he has a clearer picture of where he can consistently be in the NFL. He's already a tight end that's had a huge workload. And if you up those touchdowns, he's an animal. Whereas Cook could be one of the most exciting players in the league. He also could be another one of those sub 200 exciting running backs who's never consistent enough to worth having on your fantasy team. So if I have to choose between those, that's why I went with McBride.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The production profile and the consistency aren't there for Mr. James
Talent,
Cook.
though.
Talent.
For
the
sure.
pedigree, man.
Oh, yeah.
So cool. I don't know. I was going through mine and I was like, man,
Oh, shit.
the running backs are getting massacred in this.
Yeah.
in our bracket here, which really echoes the strength of this class being a little elsewhere.
Wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just roll into the next matchup. We got the number 7, Dameon Pierce, running back out of Florida, and he's up against number 2, David Ring the Bell out of Purdue, wide receiver. He's a local favorite still, I think. And for that reason and more, I have him beating Dameon Pierce in this matchup pretty easily.
Yeah,
the 2 over the 7, so.
Yeah, both guys that kind of underperformed, but I think one hurt. It hurt Pierce more to underperform than it did Bell, because Bell, I've echoed it on this podcast a bunch that I don't think he necessarily needs to have the athletic profile of a crazy like superstar, because I think he can just fill in the role of a number 2 in any offense. So when you look at these guys, they both underperform at the combine. One has 2,000-yard seasons, and then Pierce has never gone over like 600. And you ask why the coach didn't want to use him more. And now with his combine results, you kind of understand why. So, yeah, Bell is the easy choice here to me.
Yeah, it's not much of a contest. I mean, especially we were just talking about James Cook and, not having the production, not having the consistency. And it's the same thing here. We've talked about it before. Emory Jones is a rushing quarterback, but last year with Kyle Trask and some big playmakers catching the ball, you would have thought there would be more opportunity for Pierce, and he didn't really take advantage of that. Really, never got up to speed. Ran the 4.59 at the combine, and. That's just not exactly what we're looking for. I did watch a little bit of his tape, and the guy has like great agility in space, and he's got some good speed once he gets going. But he just seemed like really indecisive, and it seemed like he wasn't really sure of himself. But I do think he has potential. I watched the 2020 OU game, and he was lined up out wide. Did really well as a receiver. He does have some good receiving numbers, so there's some potential there. But I mean, it's David Bell all the way, every day, no problems.
Yeah.
David Bell moves on.
Absolutely.
All right. So just to update those who are listening, in case you're not watching, then you could just follow along
What's
on
wrong
YouTube.
with you?
It's a great bracket. Daniel did a great job, but the first 4 to make it into the Sweet 16 out of the orange bracket. We got the 1 seed Treylon Burks taking down Pierre Strong. We got Skyy Moore over Desmond Ritter in a close one. The 5 moves on. Upset alert. James Cook, the 6 versus Trey McBride, the 3. We had Trey McBride move on. Colorado State tight end. And then the last in the orange bracket, Dameon Pierce versus David Bell, the 2 seed. David Bell moves on. So we got Treylon Burks versus Skyy Moore. Trey McBride versus David Bell. And let's go on to the green.
You got it. So first up in the green is... Sorry, every time you say David Bell, or I say David Bell, I just think of For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah.
But time watches not. Here we go. All right. Green matchup number 1. We have Drake London, the number 1 wide receiver out of USC, and he's up against, holy shit, there's a little infighting. The running back from USC, Keaontay Ingram. So that's weird. A couple of teammates duking it out here.
Couple of Trojans up here.
That's right. Let's keep it fair, huh?
Keep it above the belt,
fair.
all right?
Above the belt. There you go. Let's keep it outside the wooden horses this time. So yeah, Drake London is gonna win, no doubt.
Yeah.
So go ahead. You got.
Yeah. So I mean, London's gonna be most likely either the best, or if not just one of the best, or one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in this class. So this isn't really a competition to me. But talking about Ingram, I like him, but he's more of like a jack of all trades and a master of none, if you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing that kind of like sets him apart from any other running backs. He's not overly fast. He's not like some kind of crazy athlete. He's never been over 1,000 yards. He's got 10 touchdowns once, but then every other season he only had never more than 5. And so that doesn't mean he can't make it into the NFL. I just question if he's ever going to be like a superstar that's, worth a draft pick necessarily. But, I mean, if he lands in a good spot, it'd be intriguing because he does have good film. He's kind of like a natural runner. I just don't see anything that, like, excites me.
Oh, yeah. I saw a few things that excited me.
Well, there you go.
In a bad way.
Take it. Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to know where my mind went when I was watching Keaontay Ingram. So just so everybody knows, he played 3 years at the University of Texas. And he was doing pretty well first 2 years. Got a little bit of run. And then a guy named Bijan Robinson popped on the scene.
He's pretty good.
And so he went to California to go play with USC. And it was pretty solid. It's a pretty good time all around. But it kind of, watching him play and thinking about transferring and having one really pretty good year after transferring. And then I see the guy with solid speed and size, kind of bouncy and elusive. And he's got like power, but not really when he needs it. Great spin move. And I'm like, oh, good God, I'm watching Trey Sermon play right now. And it just hurt me, man. It hurt me. I honestly really was pretty excited about Keaontay Ingram, and then I saw Trey Sermon, and so I'm still licking those wounds, and it's got me like second guessing everything. But I still like Keaontay Ingram, but you can't beat Drake London, so that's that, man. That is that.
No.
Drake London.
With that, yeah, man. Every time I think of Drake London, I just think of Big Ben, the clock tower in London, and I'm like, there's no Metallica song for this one, but he's gonna fire me from the show.
London Calling.
There you go.
I got you.
Are these all Guitar Hero songs? We gotta make our own album. All right, so moving right along in the green bracket, we're going to the number 5, Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty, and he is up against number 4, Rachaad White, the running back out of Arizona State. Hoo-wee.
Oh, I'm curious. I feel like on the count of 3, I want to hear who you guys chose.
To win?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Malik
White.
Willis.
Oh! I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, get after it, boys.
If this is a super flex, obviously it's Willis. But I don't know. We're not in the super flex thing. And I know the whole world is all over Malik Willis, and I think it's fair. He's obviously an electric playmaker with a cannon for an arm. I just don't get overly excited about dudes throwing the football in their shorts to other dudes that are uncovered. He just has a ton of classic signs to a possible bust for me. I'm not saying he's going to be, but like accuracy issues, 61.4% completion percentage isn't great. Even the adjusted completion percentage, that's where they take all the drops and everything that's not his fault out of it. It only bumps him up to 70.4, which sounds pretty good, but it ranks him tied for 99th in the nation, which, that's not great. Never thrown over 3,000 yards, never ran for over 1,000 yards. I think it's all just based on like the excitability of his athleticism, which is obviously there. I'm just scared of him as a passer, to be honest with you. And again, in a super flex lead, obviously I'm taking a chance on Willis just for the athleticism alone. But I liked White, man. He showed out at the combine. I think he's got really good size. And I would just take that running back over a quarterback who has some red flags to me.
As well we shall. I like both these guys. I didn't actually pick someone to win or lose. I just rolled with it because I knew it was going to be one of those classic clashes. I think Rachaad White is someone I'm way more excited about than Malik Willis. But I also think Malik Willis has made himself a clear front runner in this quarterback class.
Big time. Yeah.
And for those reasons, I thought it could go either way. But
this was a close one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't participate in the combine drills, but he did get out there and looked good. And I think someone's going to make him into either a make or break kind of guy. I mean, I hear you talking over there, and I'm like, who's he talking about? Jalen Hurts again, you know? But yeah, you did a great job.
That's kind of what you're looking for. And Jalen Hurts, if he follows that path or better, then yeah, he's worth it. But, you know, there's been a lot of guys that were supposed to be like that and didn't do much.
I don't know, man.
So
I agree to agree with you.
Are we on Rachaad here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep it moving. I know my man AJ over here gets a little restless with my lingering talk styles.
Gucci. But let's go. Come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's part of the thing where you're like tapping your foot on the ground.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, just like, come on. He's tapping his wrist. He's got a watch on. All right, next up we got number 6, Isaiah Likely, the tight end out of Coastal Carolina. And he's up against Jameson Williams. I think we all know this dude by now, wide receiver out of Alabama.
Hey, you guys saw he was running today.
Was he?
Yeah, not full sprint, but he was doing drills.
Hell yeah. There's a lot of guys making some.
He's. I wish I had the tweet, but you could look it up. It was basically saying he intends to be running by draft day.
Well, you know what? You could definitely bookmark that tweet because I think we'll be talking about him in the Sweet 16 because I have him beating Isaiah Likely in this matchup.
Oh, yeah. And that's sad. I like Likely. If he was bigger, I think maybe this is a closer argument. But I'm also like more down on Williams than a lot of people. Just I'm not fans of those burners where that's kind of all. I talked about it on another episode. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Likely's kind of in a weird spot. Like not big enough for a tight end, but not small and fast enough for a wide receiver. He's going to fit in somewhere, I think, and do well. There's a lot of potential there. It's just more of a wild card to me. And then Williams is like everyone's foaming at the mouth over them, so you know he's at least going to get the looks. So I don't know. This one, this was a weird one for me. It's both guys where I'm not entirely sure where they're going to fit or how it's going to work, especially with Williams' injury. But I think, yeah, you got to go Williams here.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked about it back in the day when we were doing our first preview episodes where I really like Isaiah Likely. And when you watch him play, you know, the designed targets, just the whole offense ran through him. And he looked fast and he looked stealthy. He looked big enough to be bossy, fast enough to be elusive. And then he rolls out, and I was saying I really want to wait, see what happens. And he got that Pro Day 4.88. That's what the adjustment on there. So 4.88. Not what I was hoping for out of a 245-pound guy. He was 5 pounds over his listed weight, so yeah, a little bit of size there. But you want to see a little bit more. I do think, I mean, he's just a crazy pass catcher, and he's going to get work, and I do think he is faster at, like, play speed than a coverage linebacker and I do think he is physical enough to put his traits to work. I just don't know if it's an immediate day one thing. But he's just a natural pass catcher. All hand catches, doesn't do the body, tracks the ball well. He's got a great route tree. And he is pretty elusive in his breaks off the line of scrimmage. So I look forward to seeing where he lands and see if he gets like a receiving tight end needy team, because he's not he's not a super run blocker. So he's going to need to have that purpose role.
Landing spot is going to be huge for him. I think his stock will skyrocket if he that's my thing with Likely is I think you like him more than I do, and maybe just kind of understand how to use him more than I do. Whereas I look and I try to project him into the NFL and I can't quite see it, but I think the potential's there, but I can't picture it. But if he goes somewhere and it does make sense, I guess I haven't really thought about where that would be yet, but that would make him jump up the boards to me. He's going to move a lot based on where he goes. If he goes somewhere that doesn't throw to tight ends a lot and he's going to be buried on that depth chart, I don't care about him at all. But if he goes somewhere where I see his path to being their receiving option, I don't know, Indianapolis.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Indy's always the tight end spot where someone that needs a target and doesn't need that much help blocking, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that would be a good one. So, yeah, I'm with you, but, Williams just kind of takes it. But
Commanders?
Likely is interesting.
I thought Commanders.
Oh,
that'd be good.
Green
Bay.
Green Bay would be a really good fit.
I think they're targeting somebody that we didn't even put in this bracket.
Good.
At tight end, actually.
Yeah, so much has changed.
Jelani Woods is a guy that they've been looking at. They've already interviewed him, I guess.
Oh, so I can drop DeGuara now?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I recently dropped DeGuara as well. And I dropped Auden Tate.
Tate. Dude, watch out for Auden Tate, man.
Blew up on my face.
Anyway.
Sorry. Well, cool, man. We settled that one, Jameson. Now we're on to the number 10 wide receiver out of Boise State, Khalil Shakir, and he's up against Isaiah Spiller, the running back out of Texas A&M.
Excited for this one, I can tell.
So, yeah, Isaiah Spiller's the number 2 seed. And he gets. I didn't select a winner for this one, but I assume Isaiah Spiller advances.
Oh yeah, I like Shakir a lot. I really do, but he does have flaws. 10 drops last season. That's not great. He's not super fast. He's not slow, but he's not super fast. And he's only really played in the slot 59 snaps total outside last season. Not going to do it from a flexibility standpoint. And so he's just more landing spot dependent. He needs to go somewhere that needs an immediate slot receiver help. Because his body control and elusiveness make him an absolute dangerous weapon if he goes to the right spot. But he's got to land in the right spot. And then Spiller's just kind of, more consistent, a better package necessarily. Maybe not going to be a superstar, but I think he beats Shakir.
Yeah, he wins Shakir. But I did, we have done other episodes, America, check them out. We did a wide receiver preview where I got into Khalil Shakir a little bit. And I got really into him and really enjoyed watching him play. Like you're saying, he's a straight up slot receiver, but he's a super valid downfield target. He got a lot of, touches out of the backfield, a lot of motion, just a lot of action in his offense, just not out wide, apparently. But watching just the one-handed catches and the kind of just a human highlight reel type situation, it's just hard not to like him,
Oh, yeah.
So I think I'm excited for him. He actually came in 6 pounds over his listed weight, close to 200 pounds. So like he's a good size 6 foot slot receiver that runs a 4.43, and I think he's gonna do just fine. But Isaiah Spiller is undeniably a top 3 running back in this class. Just joking. Rachaad White's above him, right? Can we just start saying that? I mean, can we just be honest
we can
about
be the
how
first
we
guys.
feel?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, all the way. Well, the NFL draft will tell us. So, man, that's it. Give us a recap on the green.
We got the green, the second half of the Sweet 16. We got Drake London taking down Keaontay Ingram in the Trojan Civil War. Drake London comes out on top, the 1 seed. Then we have Malik Willis versus Rachaad White, the number 3 running back in this class. You heard it here first. Rachaad White moving on to take on Drake London. Then we had Isaiah Likely, Coastal Carolina tight end, versus Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama. We went ahead and moved Jameson Williams to the next round. And then Khalil Shakir versus Isaiah Spiller, the number 4 running back in this class. He moves on. So that brings us Drake London versus Rachaad White and Jameson Williams versus Isaiah Spiller in the Sweet 16. And back to you, Daniel, for the blue bracket.
You got it, man. My blue bracket's ready to go. This is getting crazy right now, man. Anyway, so blue bracket's got some bangers in it. Just 1 or 2, really. We'll start off with the bangiest banger. Breece Hall, number 1, running back out of Iowa State Cyclone. He's up against Jerome Ford, Cincinnati running back. And sorry, Jerome, you're out of here, man. You are out of here.
He's good though, man. Good little player. 210, so he just barely scratches that like premium weight category that I like with running backs. He's only had 1 year of production, but it was good. 1,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 200 receiving yards. You're asking if he can keep that up and be successful in the NFL, or if it was just this magical Cincinnati Bearcat season that kind of spiked him. But he doesn't have top end speed that he wants, but I actually do think he has good burst. We don't know what the burst score is on him, right? He was one of the ones that didn't do the combine, or am I getting my notes mixed up here?
You got an 18th percentile burst score on him.
Okay, so I mixed that up somewhere. So that's awful. I don't like that. So that kind of hurts him a little more. But I think he's got pretty good power for being that small. And a weird thing I've noticed with him that I'm going to start looking to see if that's everybody, and I just never noticed it. But that dude, just keeps his fucking head locked forward and just stares at the end zone when he runs. Even when he's getting hit, his head, never moves side to side. He's just running forward, and people just, bounce off of him, kind of, and he just keeps moving.
He's got the
It's
periffs.
just a weird little thing I noticed watching him. But I do like Ford, but yeah, obviously Hall just eats his lunch. It's not close.
That's crazy. I have that same note for a different guy later on.
Really?
About that, keeping the head forward. Yeah, my number 4 in the class, running back. But
so Spiller's at 5 then.
Yeah, for now it could be worse by the time it's all said and done.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think everyone's begun to know what I'm talking about. Let me just pull up some stuff here on Jerome Ford, because I did think that he was pretty solid. He did have some good pass catching, and that 1,300 yards is nothing to shake a stick at. But one thing that really got me about him was he had 6.1 yards per attempt, but only 3 yards after contact per attempt. So the difference between his yards per attempt and his yards after contact was a lot greater than the average for this class. So a lot of his yards came from, I would assume, the rest of that offense being dynamic. And just watching the film, he really needed clean running lanes Otherwise, the lack of burst really showed up on film. Not really getting a lot of traction after contact, obviously, is what I'm trying to say. But I did think it was fun to watch him play, and I've been excited about him ever since I saw they were going to the Senior Bowl, and as the picture all the Cincinnati players. I was like, that dude looks like a man, So I still keep an eye out for him. But damn, that burst score is it's all I see now when I watch.
Yeah,
it's kind of got me tainted. So he's definitely losing to Breece Hall, who had the 94th percentile burst score. So
his was insane. Who was I looking at earlier? I don't know. I got my notes mixed up on that. But yeah, an 18 for Ford is pretty bad. When I'm shooting for 70 or higher, 18 is scraping the bottom of the barrel. So
you're familiar with Isaiah Spiller's burst score? 7th
it's
percentile.
Super bad.
Yeah.
I'm not into Isaiah Spiller.
It's fun
at all.
Yeah, if he's at the 1.7, I'm gonna have to take him.
I hope you do.
That'd
but you could take him and trade him. Somebody likes him. People like him.
Oh yeah, He's
probably gonna go in the top 4. I'd almost guarantee you.
Yeah, hopefully no one's
gonna go.
It's
gonna go 3. The top 3 are running backs, no doubt, doubt.
And
it just depends on what the NFL does.
Oh well, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's going to be huge, but I feel like there's a pretty good chance it's Hall, Walker, Spiller.
All right, fellas. I'm seeing shades of Antonio Gibson with this Rachaad White thing going on, and I think people are hip to it.
Super good with that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but if White falls to that 1.5, that's probably. Yeah.
Well, he should be there theoretically.
Yeah. Smash or pass.
And then you can laugh at me when he outperforms Breece Hall, and we could just have this whole running joke.
And then you can wear the jersey. Oh man,
that's
content
jersey
right there.
Ah shit. You could wear a Terry McLaurin and a Rachaad White jersey. So anyway, obviously Breece Hall wins that one. So up next we got the quarterback out of Ole Miss, Matt Corral, up against George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. And I had George Pickens winning this one.
Yeah, me too.
Hell yeah.
We don't need any
I kind of
quarterbacks, man.
Threw up a bunch of red flags about Pickens earlier. But honestly, all of that kind of went out the window with the combine. The injury I thought was going to be more impactful than it seems to have been. And then, to be honest, I just kind of thought he was slower than he ended up being. And so I wasn't in love with the athleticism. And then with the injury and with the disciplinary stuff, that was too much for me. But now that he's blown up and had a really good combine, I see, that other stuff goes out the window. I'll take a chance on a kid with that kind of ability. So yeah, I think Pickens wins here. Not that Matt Corral is bad, I like Matt Corral. I did want to ask you guys, is Matt Corral stock down? Or did it just kind of plateau?
I think it
just didn't move and everyone else's did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of what I meant. I don't think people are down on Matt Corral. They're just higher on everyone else now.
Well, if he just didn't do anything. He didn't do drills. He didn't do any. So yeah.
His hands are not that much larger than
they're not.
Pickett's as well.
They're really not.
They should really. I mean, not to just bring that up every time it comes up, but he's got an inch on him, so.
Yeah. And then I think Corral is interesting as a prospect, but I think he's going to end up being an investment for one of these teams, maybe Pittsburgh or Indianapolis to pick up late in the first or in the second. And from that angle, I'm interested just because he can sit and wait. But I think he's going to be the guy that gets the least amount of starting time, maybe, for wherever he's drafted.
Yeah, out of the 4 quarterbacks in this bracket,
don't you dare disrespect Bailey Zappi like that.
Well, he's not in the bracket, is he?
he was.
He was.
He was a 16 seed.
Yeah. It's all good. I mean, I think Bailey Zappi might do better than Matt Corral because, Matt Corral, he had good, pocket presence, good footwork. He's got a decent arm and can scramble, but he plays quick, and I think he takes what's there in a play, and he doesn't let it develop. And he didn't really have the touch on the ball, So it wasn't like I didn't see the potential for him to become an NFL quarterback. I saw kind of like a check down type first read quarterback that didn't really get me excited. So
no. Well,
I could be wrong, but I'm always wrong.
I forget who we had this conversation with. I think the last episode, but where it's like he chose not to perform. So it's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, the David Bell syndrome.
Yeah. And that's fair. I mean, he needs to polish a bunch of stuff to become a guy. Because I am with you. His first read is the only read for him, it seems like. And I just think there's like potential there. So I'd be willing to like maybe take a flyer on him. I don't think he gets drafted in most Dynasty rookie drafts. Probably falls out of the third round. So maybe like picking him up with Fab and just kind of sitting and waiting, depending on where he goes. But yeah, he's not beating Pickens. It's not close.
You're not excited to have a potential startable quarterback in him.
Yeah, exactly.
In a single QB league. I'm with you though. I mean, in a super flex, obviously, top of the second round, he's kind of right in that who was that guy last year? Like Kyle Trask.
Oh, Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
Kyle Trask, Davis Mills.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys that could get run, but obviously don't have long term.
I think he goes in the first round though.
Probably.
Just because of the desperation of what is right now.
Yeah.
I think he could do pretty good in Pittsburgh, just considering the pass catchers there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to utilize any deep threat. There's not really a deep threat because Big Ben wasn't really throwing the deep ball.
He's not a deep threat guy. And I think he makes sense to Pittsburgh because to me, the Mitchell Trubisky signing was kind of showing Pittsburgh's hand a little bit. I don't think they like one of these guys enough to be their future ticket, or, they wouldn't really worry about getting a Mitch Trubisky. But I do think they're going to take one of them, and it's probably now going to be one of the ones that they think they could maybe mold into who they want. Instead of like there'd be no reason to me to draft Kenny Pickett now because like he can come in and start day one. So what would be the point?
Yeah.
In getting Trubisky. So to me, it kind of seems like they might go after Corral. I think Desmond Ritter's stock is maybe a little too high now. So they may have to trade up to get him, which I don't think they want to do. But I don't know. I'm curious for sure.
Nice. According to my news feed, Mike Tomlin had dinner with every quarterback after their pro day. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we definitely nailed that one. Good job, George Pickens. Love you. We're moving on to the next matchup. It's the number 6, Brian Robinson Jr., running back out of Alabama, and he's up against Jahan Dotson, wide receiver, Penn State. This was not that hard for me. Jahan Dotson gets the W.
Mm-hmm. It was actually harder to me. If you had asked me 3 weeks ago who would win in this matchup, I would have easily told you Jahan Dotson. And obviously, I've talked about my love for Jahan Dotson. So this is really more about Brian Robinson performing better than I thought he would at the combine. 6'2", 225, 4.35 or 4.53 40. Jesus. That's the same as AJ Dillon and Derrick Henry, like right around a tenth of a second, or like not a tenth of a second, but like 100th of a second. Within those guys, obviously those guys have 20 pounds on him.
Yeah.
And then Najee Harris is right around that, but he still has 10 pounds on him. But, at the end of the day, Robinson's a 5-year running back who only had 500 yards once. And that was when he transferred to Alabama. So it's just a guy that, I think he's better than I gave him credit for, but still not beating Dotson, who even an undersized Dotson has the talent to make it work in the NFL to me. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw some love out for Robinson. I was a little down on him earlier in the year, and I think he's kind of moving up just a bit for me. I don't know where you're at with these guys, but.
Well, I'm the opposite. So I did this research in order of the matchups because of why not, right? And just so happened as I'm combing through these stats and watching some film and thinking about a couple of things, I just happened to notice that there's a lot of similarities between Jerome Ford and Brian Robinson Jr. as far as their production, their yards after contact numbers. Both got pretty good wide receiver or catches, a lot of catching receiving yards. The yards per route run about the same. Even their pass blocking grades are about the same. And one of them's a little bit bigger than the other one, but as far as BMI, they're right on the money, So the larger one is taller and heavier. And I saw a lot of similarities between the guys. It's kind of ironic. They both played at Alabama for a number of years. Looks like Jerome Ford saw Najee coming back for the 2020 season and decided to go to Cincinnati, whereas Brian Robinson stayed out at Alabama for 5 years and then got the role after Najee left. So they're very similar in my mind, and so it's just kind of like holding me back. I know it's not like an analytical thing. It's just catching me in my mind and kind of just holding me back on they're both good, but nothing to get excited about. You're talking about a burst score of the 15th percentile for him. So that's where I'm at on it. I think it was a really easy Jahan Dotson win for me, but that's just, I guess I'm a Brian Robinson Jr. hater, straight up.
Let me stress, when I say it was harder, I don't mean that it was hard.
Right.
I just mean it's harder than I anticipated it being.
No, I hear you, man. I know you weren't, staying up at night, pacing, scratching out your notes and rewriting them and shit. But yeah, it would have been a no brainer, and you had put a little bit more into it. I understand.
Yeah, just like 30 seconds worth of thought, where I would have thought like 0 before. So
yeah, this is one where I didn't highlight a winner necessarily, but I was ready to go either way on it. So I'm with you a little bit there. Next up, we got Jalen Wydermyer, and he's the tight end out of Texas A&M. He was someone everyone is so excited about. He's up against Chris Olave, Mr. Smooth. That's the wide receiver out of Ohio State, the Buckeyes, baby. And he definitely gets the W over Jalen Wydermyer.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's not close.
Yeah, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are following pro day numbers as they come out. I know you are because you're obsessed with fantasy football and we do this podcast weekly. So I know you're deep in this shit with me. But Jalen Wydermyer, man, his name is Mud now. Like, he is dead to me. Burn him, burn him. He ran a 5.07 at the pro day. And people are ready to just sell him to the next bidder. They don't care. Get him away from me. They don't want anything to do with them. And I don't know, man. I was pretty excited about him just watching his film throughout the process. I thought he looked extremely athletic. He's playing kind of a different tight end role where he was like the pulling blocker, did a lot of pass blocking and run blocking, and also was a really good receiver, was physical in nature, but that slowness kind of made me a little more skeptical, and I think that he's kind of tumbling. He was rivaling Trey McBride for the number 1 spot in this class, and now he comes in that slow, only 10 pounds heavier than Isaiah Likely. And I'm like, how am I supposed to prefer you in this situation? But I think he'll still get a shot to make a name for himself. I just think the excitement he had, the momentum he had, the possible number one at the position he had is taking a pretty big hit with that.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to add on to that. I think you kind of nailed it. But, I do want to just say he's got pretty good moves for a big guy, and especially now, like a slow guy. Like he does kind of like have these little elusive moves that he uses that you wouldn't think a guy that's 255 would be able to do. So there's potential there still, but yeah, he did take kind of a hit.
And he's got just about 13-yard per catch average, 500 yards. He was routinely a high-level producer in that offense as far as the passing game, and it was not an offense that was utilizing the passing game heavily. So to say that there's potential to grow is an understatement. But you really got to keep adding, adding to the momentum. And when you hit, it's kind of like a brick wall, that 507. I think they said it's like the first percentile.
Oof.
For 40 time for a tight end.
Jesus.
Like, I've never seen that before anywhere.
That's the worst.
Oh.
Yeah, like he's setting
1%. Being in the 1 percentile of something
Tutu Atwell height right there.
Yeah. Is that better or worse than just not doing it at all?
It's worse.
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Feels like ego gets in front of that one. The agent's like, hey, bro, you shouldn't run this. He's like, no, I got this.
I got this.
And that was at a pro day, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the pro day was a 502. So we're putting in the half a tenth there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to run down the blue real quick. So the blue brackets, we had Breece Hall versus Jerome Ford, and Breece Hall moved along. Then we had the 5 seed versus the 4 seed, Matt Corral versus George Pickens. George Pickens gets the W. Then Alabama running back Brian Robinson Jr., the 6th seed, takes on Jahan Dotson. The Penn State, what are they? Nittany Lions. John Dotson takes the W there. And then Jalen Wydermyer versus Chris Olave. Chris Olave moves on to the Sweet 16, and we are on to the last and final bracket, the red one.
When you say Chris Olave, you say Mr. Smooth.
Mr. Smooth.
Mr. Smooth.
Put
a V in the smooth.
We'll see if I have time next week. I'm starting to jot down some notes. Maybe I'll get some
Mr. Smooth.
Get some Mr. Smooth.
You got to say it real smooth.
Ooh.
All right. The red bracket. Oh, here we go. Straight up. Oh, my goodness. What are we talking about? Ohio State wide receivers? We got plenty of them. Starting you off with Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State, number 1 seed in the bracket here. And he's up against Hassan Haskins, the running back out of Michigan. Yeah. Too bad Hassan Haskins got to lose this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor fella.
You got much to say about him?
I don't, to be honest with you. I'm not like hugely interested in him. I think he's like landing spot dependent, I could get excited about him if he falls into the kind of the perfect spot. But I don't know, a 4.9 or nothing. This was the guy that I was thinking didn't do anything in the combine, so it's hard to judge him. But 6'2", 228, if that's what he actually ends up being at. I don't know. Has he had his pro day and I just missed it?
So he did the bench press and the weigh-in, and so that is the correct. And it's gotcha. 27 on the bench was the thing he did. So that's pretty impressive. Ankle injury in the game, Michigan against Georgia in the quarterfinals of the college football, championship bracket.
Yeah. And so it's just, I don't know. He just doesn't do anything crazy to me on film. He's got good size, and he looks quick for that size, I guess, and decent power. But it's just like earlier when I said he's like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I forget who the fuck I was talking about. But it's like the same thing, but then it's worse with the injury and not seeing the workouts. And so, yeah, and Wilson, to me, I'd still argue it's either him or Drake London as the best receivers in the draft. So this one's just no chance. Actually, I think this whole red bracket is kind of
landslides.
Easy. Yeah, like it was not very hard for this one.
Well, we got to keep it up for the entertainment and the listeners.
I don't know. This next matchup, I could see maybe a little argument.
We'll find out. Let me tell you what I thought about Hassan real quick, because he is I think he's a kind of a badass downhill runner.
Okay.
He's very capable at the goal line. He had some extremely explosive box scores, and a lot of those box scores contained high touchdown numbers. He didn't really ever break past the 150-yard games, which he had about 5 or 6 of. But he was definitely used and abused, 270 carries in 2021. But it was very inconsistent, and that kind of is echoed back throughout prior years as well. So he had 18 catches, so nothing incredible, but he definitely can do the job. So he's going to be, I think he's going to be a serviceable backup, kind of like change of pace, goal line back or whatever. I think he will get an opportunity. But yeah, without the workout, with the ankle injury and all that, he's another guy. And at this moment, I guess I'm all about momentum, like I need my next whatever, like what have you done for me lately? But Hassan Haskins is a guy that probably anyone who watches any college football and was tracking like the big names down the stretch. He had a 5-touchdown game against Ohio State and just like blew the lid off of that situation. So he's got some name recognition, some notoriety, and some big performances against high-level competition going into, his last year as a college running back. So
you ruined my thing. I was going to say Garrett Wilson just did to Hassan Haskins in this bracket that Hassan Haskins did to Garrett Wilson in the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Just crushed it.
That's hilarious. Is that the Big Ten championship game or something like that?
I think it was the final game of the season.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that was nasty, man. Yeah, that was cool because Ohio State was putting it all together, and then they just got fucking messed up by Hassan Haskins. So
and Hutchinson.
Oh yeah, Aiden,
but
the 101. So we're rolling into the next matchup. Red bracket, Zamir White versus Kenny Pickett. So Zamir White is the running back out of Georgia. He's the 1 to the James Cook 2 punch. And then you got Kenny Little Tooth Pickett coming at you with the small handshakes. Quarterback out of Pitt. And I don't know what to do here. I have Kenny Pickett winning. But actually, in my heart, okay, yeah. I mean, Zamir White is far superior in my heart. I just think like kind of weak. All the quarterbacks lose, but I guess that is this draft class.
Yeah, that's kind of. Oh, we can hang on. Go back and put Ritter through if you want.
No, there's no going back, dude. We're sticking. We are who we are. We have 1 or 2 tight ends winning, so
it's just the thing of like quarterback to running back, and obviously I love Pickett. I do think, to be honest with you guys, I think Desmond Ritter is starting to take over that number 1 QB role to me. But I do really, really love Pickett. I just think Pickett has like a very clear and divine ceiling where it's like he's going to be hyper efficient, really ball out, and have like a good career. I really do believe that. But like, it's not going to be like, I don't know how many fantasy championships he's going to win you, Whereas Zamir White has a chance to do that. He's got really good size. He runs really well. He performed well all year. So, like, I don't know. He's worth taking a chance because quarterbacks, to me, are just fairly easy to find. You know, like, ironic because they're hard to find in the NFL landscape. But for fantasy, like, you can get a quarterback. It's not hard. So to me, I'd rather take a chance on a running back with a ton of upside than a quarterback where I kind of know what he's going to be.
Amen, brother. Yeah, I love Zamir White. I mean, for me, he's fighting Rachaad White for the
I knew that's
spot,
who it was.
But
Yeah, I knew
I'll
that's
give
who
him
it
as my
was
number
too when you
4.
said that.
Of course, you know. So I'll save all my ammo.
So I'm surprised he said pick it. I was like,
I was shocked by that too. I thought for sure you were gonna. I thought you were about to have to. I thought you were thinking you were about to have to fight me on Pickett.
No, I'm just doing it as I know it's a single quarterback as far as like the voting, but in my head it still is like, you know, the fact that quarterbacks are drafted in the first round of the NFL draft and they are the cornerstone of a team, and there's potential for any of these guys to become everyday starters, whereas Zamir White's probably not going to get a 3-down role, probably not even going to get a shot at a starting job out of the gate, just stuff like that. So, you know, Kenny Pickett, what can you say about a guy who's 6'3", 217 pounds, but only has 8.5-inch hands? You can say a lot of stuff. Just ask the internet. He did have an 84th percentile burst score, and he ran a 4.73, which is pretty cooking for a quarterback. So he's more athletic than you might imagine, and he's definitely going to get an opportunity, top 10, top 15 draft capital in the NFL draft, you know, for your Minnesota Vikings.
That'd be tight.
Nah, he's going to Carolina.
Oh, really? That'd be
I don't
dumb.
know.
I don't think Carolina's really too interested in guys that can't move around as much, which, I mean, you did just say he can. So, you know, like, he's a bit underrated. He just didn't do it a ton in college, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he had topped out at 233 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Hey, he can go to Seattle. You don't need big hands to hand the ball off, bro.
No
Dude,
way,
it rains
that's
too much. Those little tiny
Oh
hands
my
can't
God.
handle the rain. I'm just kidding. That's some
No,
bullshit.
you're right. I'm with you, man. I love that. I was gonna let you go. That would have been really fun to enjoy. So yeah, without getting too, you know, let's not make a big deal out of small hands and move right along to Tyler Algier. He is your number 6 seed in this bracket. Out of he's from BYU, makes sense. He's running back, and he's up against Christian Watson, who is a wide receiver out of North Dakota State University. So
The Bisons.
The
up
Bisons.
There. Oh,
don't
yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Up there in North Dakota. Yep, he wins. Sorry, Tyler. Tyler Algier takes an L on this one. And obviously, I've talked a little bit about Tyler over the years. Obviously, we have previous episodes where I do running back breakdowns, and half of these guys have probably been touched on in one of our, you know, deep dive scopes. So I'll give you all the opportunity in the world to figure out how many field goals inside the 20-yard line their kicker had to kick, and see how that touchdown efficiency in the red zone prowess is what Tyler Algier is all about. Also want to say he's a super physical back that is a superb pass blocker, and he really is pretty elusive in space. And once he gets up to full speed, he is a badass. But that full speed never really happens until he gets on the positive side of the line of scrimmage. And some of those pause moments and his slow attack to the hole, I call it the push. They lead to a lot of negative plays, so he's not a total back. He's not a complete back. Maybe some of that time as a linebacker maybe made him hesitate at the snap, you know, read the whatever. But once he gets moving, he is cooking, and he's hard to take down, very physical. But he just...
What's that? It's like a train.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Takes him a second to get going, but then you can't stop it once he's going.
And then he whistles a lot too.
Yeah, and he whistles a lot.
He it tells you when he's coming to your intersections.
Yeah. I want to echo everything you said. I didn't want to spend a ton of time on Algier because we have talked about him. But yeah, he's got a pretty defined role as a power goal line back. And I think he's going to have an awesome career. But you look at Christian Watson, and it's this like freak athlete that I think we all want to just take a chance on. And I want to ask you guys, it's been something I've been digging into a little bit. Have you guys heard of RAS?
Yeah. Math bomb?
Okay. Have you looked into it at all?
Quite a bit.
Okay. AJ, have you? Okay. So for AJ and for anyone else listening, RAS stands for Relative Athletic Score. It comes from this guy on the internet who's been gaining traction with a lot of the like scouts that I follow on Twitter and a lot of the Packers beat writers. So I decided to check him out. His name's Ken Platt. He's a Lions fan. Sorry, Ken. But he's been using a system where he creates, it's like math and metric system to grade athletes on a 1 to 10 point scale for the NFL. You don't look at film for it. You don't look at stats. It's purely based on combine and other athletic tests. And like I said, the score is between 1 and 10. Christian Watson scored a 9.96 on his athletic score. That's 0.01 less than Julio Jones and 0.04 less than Calvin Johnson. So that does not mean that he's going to be a superstar, mind you. There are other guys that have scored around him that didn't end up being like true superstars. Javon Walker was one that scored pretty close to him, who had a pretty decent little career. But it is a sign of like, okay, this guy's like on another level as far as just athleticism. And to me, you take a chance on a guy like that over Algier, who has a very, very clear and defined role in the NFL to me.
Oh, I have seen this.
Yeah, shout out at MathBomb on Twitter. Yeah.
Does he do all that stuff too?
Yeah, that's his Twitter handle.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at that about 2 years ago when it was like kind of a clunky
he's been gaining
website.
Quite a bit of traction. I've been seeing
blowing
it pop up. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
man.
Maybe we could try to help him out with our 20 listeners and throw his shit in the bottom of this episode as well.
Yeah, we should definitely give him some love.
Yeah, we'll throw that shit in after our Dynasty draft, okay? We don't need anybody with insider.
I'm just looking at Breece Hall, a 9.87 on there. So you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just interesting. I wanted to throw it out there just because, we talk about these guys being super athletic all the time, but, here's a number actually attached to it. So you can see why we're all enamored with Christian Watson.
Yeah, I think when we go through the Sweet 16, we should try to incorporate the little Raz dropping in there. That'd be
I like that.
Pretty smooth thing to do. Well, do you want to say goodbye to that our number 15th matchup out of 16?
Oh, the penultimate
matchup? See you later.
We can penultimate matchup. Goodbye. Good night.
And now for the ultimate matchup. We got Alex Pierce, wide receiver out of Cincinnati. What do we keep talking about this school for? And he's up against Jaboy Doak Walker's grandson, Kenneth Walker III.
Jeez.
Running back out of Michigan State.
Talking about Cincinnati after this week, because I'm pretty sure all of them lost, right?
Yeah.
It's this week's Nevada.
Yeah. Oh. Damn. Nevada, they can all go.
I'm sad, dude. I am becoming more and more in love with Alec Pierce. And I'm sad he had to go up against Walker. If you want a reference for the RAS, Alec Pierce ended with a 9.81, which I think would have shocked everyone because I think he would have had interest in the NFL draft in the later rounds anyway, because he's just a baller, dude. Like, he's always involved with the play. He's blocking, running routes when he knows the ball's not coming to him, but running at full speed. Like, he's just one of those guys that you'd love to have on your football team. But then the combine shows that they may have been underutilizing him. 6'3", 211, 441, 94th percentile burst score. And like I said, that RAS of 9.81. Like, dude, I think we got to watch out for this guy. I think he's going to sneak up on a lot of people. I really do. He doesn't have the juice to beat Walker or even make it a real conversation, but I'm pretty high on this guy.
Yeah, I'm super high on him personally as well. I got to say, he had only 4 drops this year, and he had led the class in contested targets with 29 and was pretty high up on the contested catches number with 13. So he's a big guy, and he's fast, and he uses his size to his advantage. Didn't really he played out wide, and I don't know, man. I'm pretty into him. His yards after the catch were really low. Yeah. But his yards per reception were close to 17. And I think he's got a ton of potential, but he's just that guy that's going to come down with the 50-50 ball. He's going to not really be slowed down by any physicality. And I think that will translate into the NFL. He has a 94th percentile on the burst score. And like you said, he's heavy, he's big, and he's fast, man. Like, this guy's a man, and he's going to get in there and F some S up. I don't know what's his...
I feel like he's going to be one of the guys that goes earlier in the draft than anyone's expecting him to. I really do. Like, I could see him popping up in, like, the second round, and everyone's going to be like, whoa.
Like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. I don't disagree with you at all. He had a 9.79 on the Math Bomb relative athletic score. Kent, thank you.
Oh, I had it at 9.81, so I guess I must have picked the wrong one or something.
I just looked at it on Twitter. I could be wrong. It could have changed. I don't know. Well, now we have to vet our sources. This is just off the tweet. I just show you. I mean, you can see. You've seen it. Is it possible? Oh God, that's never gonna work. Okay. Well, anyway. Tough draw here coming up against Doak Walker's great-grandson.
Oh, Christian, you flipped your camera. Now it's just a lot of us on the screen, Daniel.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
Did we lose him?
We're beautiful people, so we can. He must be mad.
I think we must have lost him. So, there he is.
Okay. Whew, I was scared. But, I mean, I think we touched on the metrics for Alec Pierce and pretty solid dude.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm not used to the tablet still, I guess. I clicked the wrong button.
And it was just all of us. It was like double vision on the screen.
Freaked us all out.
No one wants to see that. Everyone wants to see that. Get on YouTube. Check it out, bro.
Yeah,
sorry,
if you want
to
see what
zoom
you just
in
heard.
to see that your phone. I closed it on accident.
It's all good.
Well, let me run this back.
I probably just copied the wrong number. If you're looking at the tweet, then I'm sure that's right. Regardless, 9.7. You said 7.9.
Yeah, so it's right there.
So it's like, it's really close. Regardless,
you said
way
yours
better
was
than
9.8.
9.81.
8.1. Yeah, I'm looking through. There's like several different tweets from him that have just been updated. So yeah, right there at 9.8, we'll call it.
Okay. Cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but way better than people would have expected from him, I bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me run this red bracket back. So, Garrett Wilson versus Hassan Haskins. Garrett Wilson, the 1 seed, moves on. And then we had Zamir White, the 5 seed, versus the 4 seed, Kenny Pickett. Upset alert. Zamir White, the Georgia running back, moves on. Then we had Tyler Algier versus Christian Watson, the 3 seed. Christian Watson moves on. And then Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati versus Kenneth Walker the 3rd. Kenneth Walker moves on. That gives us a matchup of Garrett Wilson versus Zamir White. Christian Watson versus Kenneth Walker III. So join us next week for the Sweet 16 and get on the YouTube so you can see this dope-ass bracket that Daniel made.
Yeah, I make a lot of brackets.
Damn, that enthusiasm gets me every time.
Hey, I tell you what, man. That was, we got some juicy ones coming up.
Yeah.
It's going to get real.
That's the thing about
fast.
these brackets. They get more interesting. You know, you'd think somebody would like try to do this for like some kind of college sport and I don't know, make a whole month around it or something. I think it worked really well if they did that.
Yeah, I think so too. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
That's true.
Skull KU.
Skull KU. Heard it here first. My goodness.
Well, shit, boys. We're at an hour 30, so...
Yeah, all right, come back for the Sweet 16. That was, I knew it was going to be a long one, getting the deets in.
Oh, yeah, you got to talk about these guys. They're way more interesting than that round of 64, fellas.
I mean, the one thing you got to say is that if we're doing the top 32, you're looking at all guys that are going to probably get picked in a rookie draft.
Yeah.
You know? And maybe not some of these back-end running backs. You might not get a Hassan Haskins, but
Keaontay, but
you never know.
Unless you're in for the belt in 311, what's up? It's either him or Auden Tate.
There you go, dude.
So, all right.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.
Deuces.